Hi, this is Christy, and this is week 5, group 1, and I have to echo Alex's post. And Alex, since you're the moderator for our group this week, I certainly sympathize. I have struggled with this last week, and it's kind of carried over, but um, in beginning to answer the questions, and then also I wanted to state that I'm not sure whether I am looking at this too closely or if I am not looking close enough. My takeaway really from this week is that as we study human science, and touching on the first question here, human science is really that study of human interaction, understanding that we are more than just individuals, but that we are a group, um, and using a critical research method to study human science actually enables us to become part of a group in order to understand its dynamics. So rather than observing from the outside using critical research method, we become part of the group to understand how better the group, the whole, operates. That's kind of my takeaway for this week. And that's also answer the first question with what is human science. Polkinghorne notes that you must have and must study the interactions of the collective versus the actions of the individual, which is really that definition of human science. And he notes Durkheim's notions of calling this holism versus individualism. And that kind of makes the most sense to me, and understanding human science, understanding that group dynamic versus the individual pieces and parts. As far as a methodology for study, going back to the critical research method, I take on when he's talking about systems and the system approach, where you again have to examine the whole in a holistic method. That methodology of studying using the critical research method is really by examining a bigger and broader view of the group, by being part of it. Can I see myself as a critical researcher? Considering how difficult this text was to read, it's a very hard question to ask or answer. I thought about that, and to be honest, I think that we find ourselves being a critical researcher every day. And for me personally, I look at it as being in a leadership role in work, and having to understand that when a project is due and you have certain members of your team, and if your project team, you know going into it as the leader of this group or the responsible party for this project, how the group operates, or you should know, you need to know in order to be successful. And it's important to understand how each individual that is on this team, what they have to bring to the table, more so than just how would they do the work individually by themselves. But when you are on the team for a project, you need each person to bring their specialty, and then also looking at how those specialties interact together in order to get the best result and best outcome for your project. And as the leader of a project team, it is your responsibility to orchestrate that, much like the conductor of an orchestra, which is also a pretty good example. That we are more than just each individual person playing an instrument, but when everybody comes together, we make a sound that we did not make individually. I see the same as far as a project leader, is that as a group, we can conduct form a project and be successful with a project that we could not have done on our own. So in answering, can I be a critical researcher, I would say yes. I think that all of us have to conduct ourselves in this method in order to be successful, whether it's in business, whether it's in friends, family, life. You have to understand group dynamics. And I think that's really what this is coming down to. Our questions for group 1. The first question is looking at Polkinghorne and his emergent properties. And I really like the example that is given, and he is talking about this in relationship to water. He brings up that an emergent property here is that if you take hydrogen and oxygen, you form something that you did not have before, which is water. And, you know, I think that